Clara Johnson stood in the faded light of dusk, her heart a restless tide washing over the remnants of her past. The old Victorian house loomed before her, a looming spectre draped in the shadows cast by great fir trees. This was a place steeped in memory and mystery, her grandmother's house, now hers, after a long silence. Clara had travelled far to Seattle, and yet it felt like she had never really left. Coming back was like stepping into an old photo, edges worn, colours fading, only the weight of unspoken stories growing heavier with every step she took. Since her arrival, an uneasy feeling hung around her like the fog clinging to the water. The air crackled with the secrets of generations long gone, bleached decency turned ghostly under the waning light. She had always been drawn to her family's history, a persistent itch of curiosity, but now that she was here, surrounded by boxes of dusty memories, she felt those desires morphing into something sharper, more akin to dread. That evening, while unpacking, Clara noticed an odd angle in the living room. A wall, previously dismissed as ordinary, seemed to breathe a little differently, almost inhaling. As she approached, she felt a chill crawl down her spine, a shiver that whispered an invocation of the past. A shiver she could almost hear. Was that a sigh? Heart racing, she pressed her ear against the wallpaper, trying to discern the source. A soft ticking echoed, consistent yet disjointed, as if the house held a heartbeat all its own. In an impulsive act born from curiosity, Clara traced her fingers along the edges of the wall. There it was, a shift. A hidden doorway, not recorded in any blueprint she had studied, took form, like a spectre rising from the dust. She hesitated, a thin sheen of sweat pricking her forehead. What was behind it? With a shallow breath, she grasped the handle. It refused to yield, as if keeping its secrets locked tight. Night sunk deeper, and strange noises danced through the halls, whispers, low and laced with sorrow, echoing in the dark corners of her mind. Clara felt as if invisible eyes watched her through the shadows. With every creak of the house, every sigh of the wind outside, she sensed a growing presence, yet she could not resist. That night, sleep eluded her like a ribbon of smoke. Heart thumping, she rose. A decision crystallized in the quiet of that haunted space. She approached the sealed door, ready to confront whatever lay hidden. With a determined pull, she pressed against the wall until it budged, revealing a compartment cloaked in dust, a treasure trove of letters and photographs of relatives she had never known. With trembling fingers, she unfolded the fragile papers. Each letter unraveled a tale of heartbreak and hidden scars, unspoken horrors tucked away like secrets beneath floorboards. As if the house itself was holding its breath, Clara felt a chill grip her heart. These faded memories were not merely stories. They bore the weight of a legacy marked by silence. Every word she read seemed to claw at her identity, unraveling what she thought she knew of her family. A creeping sensation formed in her gut. This house, this home, harboring something malignant beneath its charming exterior. Was it only the past that haunted her? Or was there something more sinister buried within the foundations? A questioning murmur followed her as she turned to the shadows. Somehow, Clara knew she wasn't alone. The whispers coalesced into a soft chorus against the walls, urging her on, but warning her too. What other secrets lurked beneath the surface of her family's history? The air thickened with anticipation, heavy as night. Clara's fingers trembled as she held the fragile letters. Shadows danced on the walls, flickering in the waning light. She took a breath. This is something. Yeah, something all right, a voice echoed from behind her, breaking the silence. Clara turned sharply, startled. Who's there? The door creaked as Samuel, her younger brother, stepped into the room. It's just me, he said, scratching the back of his head. You look like you've seen a ghost. I might have. Clara shot back, still staring at the letters. He moved closer, peering over her shoulder. What's all this? Letters. Family letters. From people we never got to know. My mom never said much about her side of the family, Samuel said softly. Just that they had issues. Yeah, issues, right. Clara unfolded another letter. What's the story here? I don't know yet, Clara replied, her heart racing. But it feels wrong, Sam. Like something's been hidden on purpose. Like secrets, he asked. Exactly. She read the words aloud, her voice barely above a whisper. Lost the house last summer. No will left behind. The estate is tangled in despair. Samuel frowned. That doesn't sound good. No, it doesn't. Clara held up the letter, shaking it. What happened to them? I don't know, he muttered, shifting his weight. Maybe it's just old family drama? Clara shot him a look. Old family drama? This is more than that. Okay. So what do we do? Keep looking, she said. I need to know. I'm not sure we should be here, Clara. It feels off. What's your gut feeling? Breathe it in. Suddenly, a loud crash erupted from the kitchen. What was that? Clara's eyes widened. Did you hear that? Samuel's voice trembled. Yeah. Stay close, she ordered, heart pounding as she stepped towards the kitchen. They moved together, creeping through the narrow hallway. Shadows loomed as they approached the door, cold air rushing past them. Clara pushed the door open slowly. The kitchen looked normal. The light from the window illuminated the room, but something wasn't right. Maybe it was just the wind, Samuel suggested, glancing around. Clara shook her head. She saw a broken plate on the floor. No, this wasn't here. What do you mean? Samuel knelt and picked up a shard. There was nothing in the sink earlier, Clara replied, her chest tightening. Something's changing here. Clara, what if there's someone in the house? I don't know, but we need... Before she could finish, a figure stepped into view. A woman with wild hair and tired eyes stood at the back door. Help me, she cried, hands outstretched. Please, they're coming for me. Clara gasped. Who are you? I came here to hide. You have to help me. Help you? What do you mean? Your family. The woman paused, breathing heavily. They're not who you think they are. What? Samuel stepped back, his face pale. It's true, the woman insisted. There are things in this house, things you don't know. The wind howled around them, slamming the doors shut. Shadows flickered. The floor seemed to pulse beneath Clara's feet. Her pulse quickened. What do you mean? I can't explain right now. Just trust me. You have to run. Run? Clara frowned. We can't just leave. They'll find you. You have to trust me. Suddenly, something crashed upstairs. A loud thud echoed through the house. Go! Now! Shouted the woman, panic in her voice. I won't leave without answers, Clara shouted back, defiant. A noise like thunder rumbled through the walls. Do you hear that? Samuel was shaking. Get back, Clara yelled, shielding herself. The woman took a step forward, desperation in her eyes. You don't know what's coming. Before Clara could respond, the door flew open. A gust of frigid air rushed in. The figure of a man loomed in the doorway, features obscured by shadows. Time's up, he roared. Clara froze. Samuel gasped. The woman shifted, her gaze darting between them. You have to trust me. Stay together. Get away from her, Clara shouted. The man stepped forward, face revealing a twisted grin. Clara! He laughed, a chilling sound. You're just like your mother. What do you mean? Clara's heart raced. The woman stepped back, her face full of fear. This was a mistake, she whispered. What do you know? Clara pressed. But the man lunged forward and Clara felt the world tilt beneath her. Everything erupted in chaos. Clara screamed. Samuel pulled her back. Run! Go! He shouted. Clara's heart pounded. They stumbled back into the kitchen, breaths coming quick and sharp. Where do we go? She yelled, panicking. Out the back! Samuel pointed. The door was wide open. Wind howled louder. Clara! Samuel shouted, but she hesitated. The woman was gone. The man was coming. They charged toward the door, adrenaline pulling them forward. What now? Samuel asked, fear in his eyes. Keep running. They dashed out into the night, heartbeats echoing in the darkness. Behind them the door slammed shut, and the whispers began again. Clara and Samuel stumbled into the night, breaths coming in quick bursts. The air was colder than it had been inside. The streetlights flickered like warning signs. What do we do? Clara shouted, glancing back at the house. It loomed behind them, dark and foreboding. Keep running, Samuel said, pulling her forward. We can't stop. But where? Clara felt the panic rise in her throat. Find somewhere safe. The park, it's close. They dashed around the corner, their feet pounding against the pavement. Clara's heart raced. They rounded a street lamp, the light barely pushing back the shadows. Did you see him? Samuel's voice trembled. Yeah, he looked just like... Clara couldn't finish the thought. He wasn't family, Samuel exclaimed. He can't be. Maybe he is. Maybe we've been lied to. Stop! Samuel grabbed her arm, halting her. We need to focus. Focus on what? Clara's voice broke. On hiding. Yes, Samuel said, urgency rising. Before he comes after us. They slipped into the park, trees bending under the gusting wind. Clara scanned the area. No one else was around, just them. Let's hide over there. Samuel pointed to a thick cluster of bushes. They squeezed into the foliage, breaths ragged. Leaves rustled around them, and Clara's heart sounded like thunder in her ears. Can you hear anything? Clara whispered. Just the wind, Samuel said, eyes darting around. Do you think she's okay? Clara asked suddenly, thinking of the woman. I don't know. His face tightened. He seemed to know us. Clara's voice shook. How? Calm down, Samuel hissed. Calm down. We just ran for our lives. Footsteps crunched on the trail nearby. Clara held her breath, fear creeping into her bones. The shadows shifted, and the footsteps stopped. They could hear a low murmuring. Did you hear that? Samuel whispered. Yeah, Clara said, peering through the branches. Two figures came into view. They were talking, too quiet to catch what they said, but one looked familiar. Is that the woman? Clara asked, eyes wide. Looks like it. Samuel leaned forward, straining to see. The second figure was taller and broader. Clara recognized the shape. Wait, that's him, she whispered harshly. They watched, hearts pounding, as the woman leaned toward the man, pleading with him. Please, you have to help me, she said urgently. Help you? He replied, voice low. You brought them here. You unleashed them. Please, if they find me... The woman trembled. They won't find you. The man's tone hardened. Not if you stay hidden. Clara's eyes darted between them. Confusion set in. Who is he? She asked. Don't know. But what's going on? Samuel whispered. Let's listen. The man stepped closer to the woman, blocking her from view. You know the truth. You have to tell them, or they won't be safe. What truth? Clara muttered. Shh, Samuel hissed, watching intently. I can't. The woman's voice broke. What if they don't believe me? They have to. It's the only way. The man's brow creased. Time is running out. You can't keep hiding forever. What do you mean? Clara said, eyes wide. They weren't just discussing survival. Something deeper lingered. What do they know? Samuel's tension dripped from his voice. Clara shivered. Footsteps echoed again, but these weren't coming from the two in front of them. They came from behind. Did you hear that? Clara whispered, backing away from the bushes. Yeah. Samuel's eyes widened. Get back! But it was too late. A figure emerged from the darkness, a woman familiar yet different. Clara! The new woman called, voice striking like lightning. Who? Clara's confusion deepened. It's me, it's Izzy. Who's Izzy? Samuel asked, panic rising. Your sister, Izzy said, eyes darting. We don't have time. We need to go. Need to go? Go where? Clara stammered. They're coming for you, Izzy said urgently, grabbing Clara's arm. You don't understand. Understand what? Samuel shouted. Clara, you have to trust me, Izzy pleaded. We're in danger. Danger? Clara's heart beat wildly. What are you talking about? Footsteps echoed louder behind her. The man and the woman turned, eyes wide. They're here! The man yelled, backing away. Run! Clara, now! Izzy pulled her toward the trees. Samuel hesitated. Clara? Izzy! I can't leave him! Clara yelled. Go! Samuel shouted. I'll hold them off! No! Clara felt a jolt of terror, but suddenly the ground shifted. Clara stumbled, a bright light exploding from behind. She turned. The man raised his arm, casting shadows across the park. Don't let them see you! He cried. What is happening? Clara screamed, desperately grasping Samuel's hand. Now! Izzy urged, pulling Clara along. The sudden explosion of light split the night. Sounds of growls filled the air, shadows coalescing from every corner. Abruptly, the woman turned and ran, disappearing into the darkness. Then an awful, piercing scream shattered the night. No! Clara cried. Stay together, Izzy shouted, dragging her through the trees. Samuel stumbled after them. A figure lunged from the shadows. Clara gasped. Get back, Samuel shouted, but it was too late. Something cold brushed against Clara's skin, enveloping her in darkness. Clara! Samuel's voice echoed, distant and fading. The world around her spun, and everything went black. Clara blinked, the darkness swallowing her whole. She could hear Samuel's voice, distant and muffled, panic twisted in her stomach. "Clara! Clara!" She shoved against the shadows, her arms flailing. Cold air pricked her skin like needles. "Sam!" A sliver of light emerged, illuminating the dust swirling around her. She stumbled forward, disoriented. "Clara!" Samuel's voice was clear now, breaking through the void. Her heart raced as she ran toward the sound. She pushed through thick trees, branches scraping her arms. "Over here!" Samuel shouted. Clara burst out into a small clearing. Samuel stood near a dark figure. "Get back!" Clara yelled, trying to reach him. "Clara!" Samuel called, a mix of relief and fear in his voice. She grasped his arm, pulling him close. "What is it? Who's that?" The figure stepped forward. It was Izzy, but different. Her eyes were wild, face streaked with dirt. "Clara, you shouldn't have come," Izzy said, breathing heavily. "What's happening?" Clara trembled. "The others are here." Izzy's voice was urgent. "They're after us." "Who?" Samuel shook his head, fear creeping in. "Those you don't know. They want the truth. You all need to leave." The bushes rustled behind them. Clara turned, heart pounding. "We don't have time," Izzy hissed. "Where's the woman?" Samuel asked, eyes darting around. "Gone." Izzy's gaze hardened. "We can't rely on her." "What do you mean?" Clara felt ice in her veins. Footsteps approached, heavy and deliberate. Clara's pulse quickened. "Run!" Izzy shouted, sprinting into the trees. Clara grabbed Samuel's wrist, pulling him along. They raced after Izzy, branches snapping under their feet. The darkness wrapped around them like a shroud. They burst out onto a dirt path. The moon cast long shadows, twisting oddly in the night. "We need to go to the old boathouse," Izzy said, glancing back. "It's safe." "Safe?" Samuel panted. "For now," Izzy replied. Clara felt her heartbeat in her throat. "What does that mean?" But Izzy didn't answer. They moved fast. The boathouse loomed ahead, barely visible in the moonlight. Its sagging roof looked haunted. "What if they're there?" Samuel whispered, panic creeping back in. "Quiet," Izzy urged, glancing around. "We stick together." They reached the door and pushed inside. The air was stale, thick with mildew. The place smelled of decay. Clara shivered. "Now what?" Samuel asked, looking around. Izzy moved toward a window, peering out. "We wait." "For what?" Samuel demanded. "For them to pass." "Who are them?" Clara pressed, eyes wide. "What are we running from?" The tension in the air thickened. Izzy turned suddenly, her face taut. "They're not just people. They're something else." "What does that mean?" Clara stepped back. Izzy took a deep breath. "It's not just family secrets. It goes deeper, darker." Heavy footsteps echoed outside. Clara's heart raced. "Shut up," Izzy hissed. They pressed against the wall, the darkness closing in around them. The footsteps grew louder. "Please, just go away," Clara murmured, holding her breath. Suddenly the door slammed open. A man stood there, tall and shadowy, features obscured. "Found you!" he roared. "Run!" Izzy shouted, darting toward the back. "Where?" Clara cried, panic surging through her. "Anywhere!" Izzy yelled, urgency in her voice. Samuel pulled Clara after Izzy, but the man lunged at them. Clara felt a cold grip around her ankle. "Let go!" she screamed, trying to break free. The man stood, silver eyes gleaming in the dim light. "You can't escape! You belong to us!" "Clara!" Samuel shouted, reaching for her. Clara clawed at the floor, trying to pull herself free. "Help me!" But the man's grip tightened. "It's time for the truth." The walls trembled, shadows swirling around them. Clara squirmed. "Sam!" With a swift motion, Izzy lunged at the man, pulling him back. They both fell to the ground, tangled in a fight. "Go! Now!" Izzy yelled, struggling to push him away. Clara could only watch, heart racing, frozen in fear. "Don't just stand there!" Samuel yelled, yanking Clara toward the back door. They dashed outside, panting in the cool night air. Clara glanced back. Izzy was still on the ground, wrestling against the man. "Come on!" Samuel pulled her along. "What about Izzy?" Clara called, panic clawing at her throat. "Forget her! We have to move!" They hurried into the woods, breaths quickening. The darkness pressed against them, the trees looming like sentinels. "Where do we go?" Clara asked, glancing back again. "Just keep running!" Samuel yelled. Suddenly, a sharp scream echoed from the boathouse. Clara froze. "Izzy!" she gasped. "We can't help her," Samuel shouted, dragging her forward. "Keep going!" Tears stung Clara's eyes. "I can't just leave her. Do you want to end up like her?" Samuel's voice was raw. The question hung in the air. The forest darkened around them. "Clara!" Clara stopped, a familiar voice. "Izzy!" She turned back, emotion rising. "Clara, Then silence. "No!" Clara called, heart racing. "Clara, keep moving!" Samuel urged. They ran deeper into the woods, but horror clawed at her. Then ahead, something flickered in the darkness. Light. "What's that?" Clara pointed. "It might be a way out." Samuel moved toward it. They stepped into a clearing. An ancient cabin stood before them, windows glowing softly. "Should we go in?" Clara hesitated. "Maybe they won't find us here," Samuel said, glancing back nervously. Clara felt the heat of dread rise again. "Just be careful." They approached the door and knocked, their breaths shallow. The door creaked open, revealing a woman with hollow eyes. "Who are you? Please let us in. We're being chased." Clara's voice was frantic. The woman stepped aside. "Hurry!" They entered the cabin, the door closing behind them. "Stay quiet," the woman whispered. "Aren't you afraid?" Samuel asked, trembling. "Of what? This place is safe." The walls felt different. Clara sensed a heaviness, like secrets hid within. "Secrets," Clara whispered. "Yes." The woman's eyes darkened. "What do you know?" Clara stepped closer, but the woman didn't answer. The door opened again, the night spilling in, and footsteps echoed behind them. "Time's up!" a voice called, icy and familiar. Clara's heart dropped, and she realized there was no more running. The door swung open, revealing a tall figure. Clara's breath hitched in her throat as she recognized the man from the boathouse. He stepped forward, eyes cold. "Time's up," he said again. The woman's face blanched. "We have to hide." "Where?" Clara grabbed Samuel's arm. "No time!" The woman pulled them deeper into the cabin. "Follow me." "Who is he?" Samuel whispered. "Doesn't matter." The woman was frantic now. "He'll find you if you don't move." Clara's heart raced. They rushed to a back room. It was small and dark, filled with dust and cobwebs. "What now?" Samuel asked, panic evident in his voice. "Shut the door," the woman said. "Be quiet." Clara pushed the door closed, her hands trembling. They stood in the shadows, pressing against the wall. The sound of footsteps grew louder outside. Clara felt sweat trickle down her back. "What if he finds us?" "Just be quiet," the woman insisted. "He won't look here." A loud bang echoed in the cabin. The man was getting closer. Clara's throat felt tight. "Why is he after us?" she whispered. "The truth," the woman replied. "It's always about the truth." "About what?" Samuel shot back. "Your family." The woman's voice trembled. "Everything you think you know." The words hung heavy in the air. The door rattled again. Clara stifled a gasp. "Stay down," the woman urged. They crouched low, hearts pounding. The man's voice slithered through the cracks. "Where are you?" he called. "You can't hide." The woman pressed her fingers to her lips. Silence fell heavy. Clara felt the hairs on her arms stand up. The atmosphere thickened with dread. Suddenly the door burst open. They jumped. The man stood framed in the doorway, a silhouette. "Found you!" he snarled. "Run!" the woman shouted, shoving Clara and Samuel forward. They scrambled, darting past him. Clara's feet pounded against the wooden floor. The man lunged forward, grabbing Clara's wrist. "Stop!" he yelled. "Let her go!" Samuel shouted, coming to Clara's aid. In one swift motion, the man threw Clara against the wall. She gasped, pain shooting through her shoulder. "Get away!" Samuel yelled, rushing at the man. But the man sidestepped, grabbing Samuel next. "Please!" Clara screamed, watching Samuel struggle. The woman rushed in, tackling the man from behind. They crashed to the ground, the air thick with chaos. "Go!" she screamed at Clara, desperation in her tone. "Help me!" Clara cried. But Samuel was trapped. With a surge of adrenaline, Clara sprinted for the door, heart hammering. The woman threw herself at the man, trying to push him away. "Clara, go!" she shouted. Clara hesitated, torn between the two. "Do it!" the woman yelled fiercely. Clara slammed the door open, the night air hitting her like a wall. She sprinted outside, Samuel's terrified shouts echoing behind her. "Clara, run!" she shouted back, hoping he would follow. The cold air stung her skin. She ran toward the trees, heart racing. Behind her, a loud crash signaled chaos in the cabin. Clara glanced back. The door flew open. The woman emerged, gasping. "Keep going," she said, lunging after Clara. "Where's Samuel?" Clara turned, panic flooding her. "He'll be okay, just run." Clara hesitated but propelled forward, desperation driving her. They sprinted into the woods, the night swallowing them whole. "Where?" Clara panted. "Over this rise." They climbed the hill, branches scratching at their faces. They reached the top, breathless. "What about Samuel?" Clara looked back, panic pinching her heart. "He'll find his way," the woman urged. "We need to get away from him." "Who are you?" Clara demanded, but the woman's eyes remained focused ahead. "I have a house," the woman replied breathlessly. "It's safe." "Safe from what?" Clara pressed. "From them." "What do you mean them?" Suddenly, a sound crashed through the trees. Clara froze, the fear crawling up her spine. "Get down!" the woman hissed. They fell to the ground, hiding behind thick bushes just as the figure re-emerged. It was the man, stalking through the shadows, eyes scanning the area. "Come out!" he called, voice low and menacing. Clara held her breath. "Come out, or I'll make you." "What does he want?" Clara whispered to the woman. "To finish what he started," the woman said, her voice shaking. Clara's stomach twisted. "What does that mean?" The man stepped closer, the moon casting a sickly glow on him. "I know you're here." Clara's heart raced. "What do we do?" "Hold your breath," the woman urged. The man's silhouette loomed larger. Shadows danced around him, dark and foreboding. 3, he counted down. "Please don't," Clara whispered, the fear clawing at her throat. 2, "I don't want to die," Clara stammered, eyes wide. 1, but just as he was about to reach them, another figure appeared behind him. It was another woman, wild-eyed, desperate, hands outstretched. "Stop!" she screamed. The man turned, surprise on his face. "Who are you?" he shouted. "Let them go," the new woman demanded, voice fierce. Clara stared, confused. "Get out of here!" the new woman shouted to Clara and the woman beside her. "Go!" "What's happening?" Clara cried. "Run!" the man roared, fury filling his voice. The two women glared at one another. "This is not over," the wild-eyed woman spat. "I know." Clara felt an electric jolt. A rush of adrenaline pushed her feet forward. "Run!" the original woman yelled again, pressing against Clara to move forward. The man lunged at the new woman. Clara could see it, but her legs propelled her into the trees. They dashed through the darkness, worlds apart from the chaos behind. Clara glanced back, panic rising in her throat. "No!" she gasped. Suddenly, Clara stumbled, falling into a small ditch. She landed hard, her breath knocked out of her. "Clara!" the woman shouted, skidding to a stop. The man's roar echoed through the woods. Clara felt the ground tremble. "Get up!" The woman reached down, grabbing Clara's arm, but then Clara saw it, a glint of silver in the darkness. "Wait!" Clara cried, eyes wide. She stared at the item half buried in the dirt, heart racing. "What is it?" the woman asked, her voice taut. Clara pulled it from the ground. It was a locket, tarnished but familiar. "It's my mother's!" Clara exclaimed, recognizing it. "Your mother?" Clara's hands shook as she opened it. Inside was a picture of a woman, hauntingly familiar. "What?" she breathed, shock gripping her. The man's roar sounded closer. "Go!" the woman yelled. Clara felt the world tilt. The truth flooded over her like ice water. "Clara! We have to run!" But everything went dark. The sounds of the man's footsteps faded, and Clara felt weightless. "Clara!" She couldn't respond. A single thought echoed in her mind. What did it all mean? Everything changed, and they were still in danger. Clara blinked again, the darkness pressing against her like a heavy blanket. The locket slipped from her fingers, hitting the ground with a soft thud. She was shaking now, cold fear wrapping around her chest. "Clara, please," the woman urged, grabbing her arm with a firm grip. "We need to get moving." Where did the man go?" Clara looked behind her, breath hitching as the shadows danced along the edge of the clearing. "I don't know, but we can't wait to find out." The woman's eyes were wide, almost frantic. "We need to go now before he finds us." Clara felt a swell of confusion. "But what about Samuel?" Is he okay? Samuel will find his way, the woman said, pulling Clara toward the trees. Right now, we need to focus on getting you safe. Safe from what? What did that man want? The woman paused, pressing her lips together. He wants the truth, and he'll do anything to get it. Clara's heart raced with every step. What truth? Tell me! I deserve to know! The woman glanced back, her expression tight. I wish I could explain, but we have to keep moving. Why? Clara demanded, pulling away slightly. What's so important? You can't just leave me in the dark like this. Suddenly the ground beneath them shook. Clara stumbled, and the woman stumbled with her. What was that? Clara gasped, looking up. A tree cracked in the distance, and they both froze, eyes wide. It's him! The woman hissed, urgency flooding her tone. We need to find cover! They dashed into a thicket, ducking beneath the branches. Clara peered out, straining to hear anything over the pounding of her own heart. Do you see him? The woman whispered. No, but I can feel him coming, Clara said, anxiety coiling tighter. The woman leaned closer, her voice soft. We're going to have to deal with this. Together. I don't even know who you are, Clara said, frustration bubbling up. The woman sighed, her breath shaky. I'm someone who wants to help you, but my past, it complicates things. You have to trust me. Trust? Why should I? Before the woman could respond, another loud crash resounded through the trees. Clara winced, squeezing her eyes shut. Stay still, the woman murmured, her body tense beside Clara. Minutes dragged on, silence stretching out. The sound of crunching leaves grew near, sending ice through Clara's veins. Did he find us? She whispered. The woman shook her head. I don't think so, but we can't wait here much longer. Just then Clara spotted movement in the shadows. He's coming, she hissed. What do we do? Follow me, the woman said, taking Clara's hand again. They ran, weaving through the trees. Suddenly Clara heard a voice, a familiar voice, echoing through the night. Clara! Clara! Samuel! She cried, stopping in her tracks. Keep running! The woman urged again, but Clara's heart ached at the sound of her brother's voice. No, I can't just leave him. Clara! Samuel's voice grew louder. Clara! This way! I found a place! Samuel! She shouted, pulling free from the woman's grasp. Go! I can't let him get caught! Without waiting, she charged toward the sound, legs pounding against the forest floor. Clara! Samuel called, relief flooding his voice. Sam! Clara stumbled into a small clearing, breathless. There he was, peering around the trees, eyes wide with panic. I thought I'd lost you, he exclaimed, rushing forward. Are you okay? Clara asked, grasping his shoulder. Yeah, but we don't have much time. We need to... Clara! The woman burst into the clearing, breathless. We need to move now! Before anyone could react, another figure stepped out from behind a tree. It was the man, eyes glinting in the dim light. There you are, he said, his smile twisted. I had a feeling you wouldn't get far. Get away from us, Clara yelled, standing protectively in front of Samuel. Or what? The man laughed, a harsh sound. You can't hide from your past. It'll always find you. What are you talking about? Clara demanded, heart racing. But before the man could answer, the woman stepped forward, her face transforming with anger. You don't understand what you're dealing with. Neither do you, he shot back. They don't know. And they shouldn't, she spat, her voice rising. Enough. The man stepped closer, shadows falling around him. The truth is going to come out one way or another. What truth? Samuel asked, confusion etched on his face. The woman froze, her expression shifting. Maybe it's time they knew. Clara felt a chill ripple through her. Knew what? Clara, listen, the woman said, stepping closer. I thought I could protect you, but if the truth is what you want, tell me! Clara felt the weight of her own words pressing down on her. I'm your mother, the woman said, her voice trembling. What? Samuel's voice was raw. No, Clara shook her head. That can't be true. My mother is dead, the woman interjected. I thought I could keep you safe, but it's too late for that now. Clara recoiled, her world tilting. No, this can't be real. It is, the woman said, tears brimming in her eyes. And your brother knows. What? I don't know anything, Samuel said, backing away. Stop lying! Clara shouted at him, bitterness rising in her throat. What does she mean? Why didn't you tell me? I swear I didn't know, Samuel said, panic breaking through his voice. The man stepped closer now, a triumphant grin on his face. "See, that's all it takes, the truth, and it's already tearing you apart." "No!" Clara cried, shaking with rage. "You can't run from it, Clara. It's all connected," the man said, stepping back into the shadows, eyes flashing. Clara felt the ground shift beneath her. "You're lying." "No," the woman said, her voice heavy with sorrow. "I wanted to protect you from this. This world, it's darker than you could imagine." Another dull thud echoed in the distance, vibrations shaking the ground again. "You're lying!" Clara shouted again, desperate, but deep down, uncertainty gnawed at her. "Turn back," the man warned. "This is a choice you can't take back." "Stop, don't say another word," Clara demanded. The woman reached out, tears falling. "Clara, please. There are things you don't understand, but we can't stay here any longer." Clara felt the darkness closing in. "What if it's all true?" The man chuckled, the sound hollow. "What if it is? You're running out of time. You can't hide from your legacy." "Clara!" Samuel's voice broke through. "We need to make a decision. Where do we go?" Clara looked back at the trees, then to the woman. "Anywhere but here," the woman said. The man stepped back, shadows swirling around him. "You'll regret whatever choice you make." The woman grabbed Clara's hand again. "We'll explain everything later, just trust me." Clara hesitated, breathing heavily, but the darkness loomed closer, and the noise in the distance grew louder. "Clara," Samuel urged again. "I can't make this choice," Clara shouted, confusion swirling in her. "Then you'll lose everything." The man roared, shadows rushing forward. Clara's heart raced. She didn't want to lose anyone else. "Go!" she shouted, hitting a breaking point. They turned and ran deeper into the forest, but Clara could feel the weight of the truth pressing on her like a heavy shroud. The last glance back revealed the man's chilling smile, fading into the shadows, and Clara knew nothing would ever be the same. Clara and Samuel sprinted through the dense trees, the weight of the truth swirling around them like a heavy fog. They could barely breathe as they ran, the urgency pulsing in their veins. The woman, their mother, who had risen from the shadows of their lives, was next to them, guiding them deeper into the woods. "We need to find shelter before he tracks us down," she urged, glancing over her shoulder. "Where's the boathouse?" Samuel asked, panting heavily. "It's too risky. We need to get away from here entirely," their mother said, her voice steady despite her fear. "Follow me." They ducked under a low-hanging branch and came upon an old abandoned ranger station. The peeling paint and darkened windows didn't inspire confidence, but it was better than standing in the open. "Quick, inside," Clara's mother urged. They slipped through the door, heartbeats echoing in the suffocating quiet. Clara felt her pulse race as she scanned the room. It was dark inside, filled with the smell of wood and dust. Old maps hung askew on the walls, creaking under the tension. She could hear Samuel's breaths beside her, quick and sharp, matching her own. "Is this safe?" Samuel asked, worry clear in his voice. "For now," their mother said, pulling them deeper into the room. "We can talk here." Clara felt her head spin, flooded by confusion. "You're really my mother? How is that possible? I had to leave to protect you both." "There are forces at play that you can't comprehend," she explained, her voice cracking. "Like the man?" Clara asked, eyes wide. "Yes, he isn't just a man. He's part of a much darker heritage lurking within our family," she said, her eyes gleaming with hidden pain. "And it's why your father and I made the choices we did." "Is that why you didn't come back?" Clara's voice trembled. "Exactly. I thought if I stayed away, I could keep you safe from everything," she said, glancing nervously toward the door. "But I was wrong. The past always catches up." A sudden rustling outside made them freeze. Clara's heart raced. What was that? "Stay quiet," their mother whispered, moving to the window. Samuel and Clara crouched low, listening. The door splintered open. The man stepped in, silhouettes dancing around him as shadows twisted and flickered. "Clara!" he shouted, the sound dripping with malice. "You can't run from the truth forever." "Stay back," Clara's mother yelled, stepping in front of them. "You're not taking them." A flash of recognition crossed the man's face. "You've really decided to stand with them? You'll only make it worse." "Get out!" Clara's mother shouted, voice firm. Clara felt a surge of anger mixed with fear. "What do you want with us? Just tell me." Clara, the man's tone softened. I'm only trying to help you see the truth. Enough! Clara's mother stepped closer, her eyes fierce. This is not your family to control. The man looked ready to lunge when suddenly a loud noise erupted from outside. There was a blinding flash as shadows raced around the ranger station, closing in. Run! Clara's mother yelled, shoving Clara and Samuel toward the back exit. They sprinted out into the wilderness, racing away from the chaos. Clara glanced back just as shadows flooded the ranger station. Go! Her mother urged, determination shining in her eyes. She was ready to fight. Mom, no! Clara cried, but their mother stood firm, ready to defend them. Look at me, Clara. You have the strength of this legacy. You'll make it. Just go. Clara's heart ached as they darted into the trees, the weight of everything crashing down. Why had it come to this? They ran through the underbrush, fear mingling with the rush of adrenaline. The shadows of the forest closed in, and Clara focused on the path ahead. Do you think she'll be okay? Samuel panted, glancing back. She will, Clara said, trying to believe it. We can't think about that now. They stumbled into a clearing, the moonlight spilling through the branches. Clara felt a chill, the night air thick with danger and secrets. But she also felt something shift inside her, a flicker of hope. They couldn't let the darkness win. Whatever happens next, we face it together, Clara said, resolutely meeting Samuel's eyes. Together, he nodded. And as the shadows loomed around them, they pressed onward, because the fight wasn't over yet, and the truth, whatever it might hold, was only just beginning to unfold. Now it's time for you to take action. You need to subscribe to our channel immediately so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that could change everything. Press that like button now to feed the algorithm and show your support. And we want to hear from you. Comment with your reactions and theories about the ending below. Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to know this story. Don't wait another second to share. Let's get the word out together.